Let's draw Garfield in motion. The important thing to remember with motion is to get everything moving in the same direction. As long as you think action and direction, you're going to be just fine, okay? Here's Garfield walking. So we get everything moving forward. He's looking forward. He's leaning forward. And everything's moving in the same direction. Look at this. We're going to take the body and move it out behind here. See, now like here is the center line of gravity, but everything's behind him and he's moving this way. So here he is with the arms swinging. It never hurts to go ahead and stand up and walk yourself and try to capture this kind of emotion. Okay, here he is, walking forward. Now, a couple of cartoon indications, okay? Here, we throw in some action lines, and that shows that he's moving forward. And also, that we do this shading underneath to show what area is right directly under his body. So this is Garfield walking. Another important concept to understand is also what we call squash and stretch. Now this is where you actually take the character out of proportion, but for some reason in cartooning it looks just fine. What we're going to do here is draw Garfield reaching for a piece of pie. Now, you know his arms are basically this length right here. Okay? Now on a squash and stretch, we'll take this far arm and we draw it real long because he's reaching for this piece of pie. There he goes. Now even though that arm is much longer than it should be, it looks okay in cartooning because he's reaching. In fact, let's do this. Let's go ahead and put him up on his toes. All right? That makes him even longer when he's reaching for a piece of pie. And again, we do the tail out here. So, and the shading underneath. There he is reaching for a piece of pie. Now, a real big piece of action. This is Garfield running. Now, you know Garfield's got to be excited, so we're going to make him with open eyes when he's running. In fact, we'll even do his mouth open here. Sometimes I work in a mirror when I'm working on some of these just to see what he's going to look like when he's running. Again, with all the motion, look how his ears go back in the wind. And again, you have to think about every piece of action. His fists are clenched, and his body goes way back like this. And his arm goes out in front like that. And we get his legs up real high. Now, again, we're really exaggerating this running motion. But it's going to look very natural when it's in cartooning. Now, when a character is running, they're usually off the ground. So we're going to put the shading all the way underneath. Now, to give even a bigger feeling of motion here, we're going to give them action lines and maybe even one of these dust clouds on the back. And we could even do a dust cloud underneath when he stirs up dust when he's running. And another thing I like to do with Garfield, look at this, we'll bend the whiskers to get the action. And when a cat runs or a dog runs, little hairs come off the back. They're always shedding. And that gives even a bigger feeling of action. So he's really moving forward. He's really excited. There's a lot of energy in a drawing like this. Now let's go exactly the opposite direction. We're going to do Garfield totally without motion. But again, to me, this is a motion drawing. This is one of my favorites. This is Garfield sound asleep or totally bored. We're going to employ a little trick here called foreshortening. This is turning the head up so far that you don't even see the eyes. Got a big tummy here. Everything's laying flat, by the way, on this line right down here. So his arms are resting right beside him, and you've got the legs resting on the ground, big toes, like this. And this is Garfield rested. Now we get everything going along the floor line here, even the tail. And here we'll move the whiskers up here. Totally bored, really rested. And sometimes here, for an effect, we'll go ahead and do this little sound effect. Garfield, sound asleep. That's always fun. He's very funny in this position. Okay, you've seen Garfield in motion. Give it a try yourself. Have fun.